What's up, weirdos? What's going on, guys? All right. So, what is happening? Everybody's happy and slappy today. Jack stacked and fanny packed. All of a sudden, let's see what's going on across the market, guys. Ethereum trying to break into new all-time highs. Bitcoin smashing up to $117,300 right now, guys. God candle mode in full effect. Absolutely. Gamma says, Rob was right about everything. Hats coming soon. Well, there's two types of people I find that follow, right? You got people who get on board, who benefit from me being right, so to speak, right? And they make money. Then you have the other people who resent me and get angry with me because I'm right, and they hate on me and dog on me. I'd rather make money, personally. I don't know. That's just me. Thank you so much, Gamma. You are absolutely amazing. Jared, what's up, man? What a day to be alive. So glad to have made this far. Thank you, Rob, for helping so many of us learn and gain so much. Hey, no problem, brother. I got the fries that'll cross your eyes. Yeah, I went for a little walk to the store, just through the neighborhood today, and just feeling thankful, feeling appreciative, right? Just for the ability to go for said walk in a beautiful neighborhood and enjoy the weather and enjoy everything and enjoy the green markets. And it's just, I told you guys this morning, before the market even turned around, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do something here, okay? Before the market even turned around today, guys, I made a video this morning, and the first thing I said when I came on was, it is a great day to feel blessed, to be blessed, and to just appreciate the opportunities in front of you. And voila, right? markets turn around, everything's green, everything's fantastic. You see, there's always a plan, my friends. There's always a plan. So, absolutely, let's get into the chat a little bit. Cryptic Saint sharing over on X. These are the days that I appreciate and look forward to positivity in a lifestyle. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. William, good to see you, buddy. Kat, what's going on? Good evening. Good to see you, Kat. Good to see you. Devin. Hey, Rob, I'm looking to start a new bag. What do you think a good option is for a project? And what do you think is about to blow? That's what she said. Well, Devin, ask me over on the Patreon, and I will definitely help you with that. No problem, man. No problemo. Danny, what's up, buddy? I'm a sissy bear chicken wuss. Cue the house hippo. Let's get it. Go pump it up. We got to pump it up. Don't you know? H-Bar Riverina in the house. Up we go, baby. Oh, house. What's going on, man? Check that silver out, Rob. $40 soon. Yeah, I think we looked at silver the other day, didn't we? Let's have another look at it. I said I thought silver was going to come down because of this head and shoulders, but it seems to be going in the opposite direction here, man. It seems to be going in the opposite direction. $38.96. Very, very interesting. Nice move today. I think everything pumped today, though, because of Powell, right? Silver pumped, gold pumped. Damn these macroeconomics. Yeah, gold looks bearish, though, man. Gold had a little bit of a pump, but yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm not even showing you guys. Take that, suckers. All right, what do we have here? All right, gold, yes. We'll stay on gold. So gold looks kind of bearish to me here. Let's check out the Bitcoin dominance while we're here. While we're here, look at that collapse, baby. Nice, continuing to plummet to the downside in a straight line, 58.63%, and dropping. Let's frickin' go, baby. And at the same time, what's a total 2 doing? What's a total 2 doing? Oh, that's total 2, I said. There we go. There we go. Look at that breakout, baby. Look at that breakout. You love to see it. Clean bear bull flag breakout to the upside. Let's go, baby. Let's freaking go. Jeffrey, thank you so much, brother, for the super sticker. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. What are we at? We're heading towards our goal, guys. We're heading towards our goal. All right, let's keep this party moving along here. KK Crypto says, buy crypto and ride the wave. There you go. Shannon, grateful for you, Rob. I'm grateful for you, too. William, smash the like button. Huge thanks, Rob, for having Max and Rule yesterday. The alpha was epic. Absolutely another local. Absolutely. It's some Yamario. The Bears can eat crow now. What's up? Crypto Future family, what's going on, man? 221 people here, guys. We got 48 likes. Let's get the likes up. Let's smash them, guys. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel, help the channel grow. It's free to do, and it's greatly appreciated, right? I remember when being a chicken bear sissy wuss was cool. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Candyman, I hate it when my wife isn't with me. Without her, I don't know when to merge, when to break, or where to park. Exactly. Exactly. 100% agree with that, man. What else do we have? Tyler, yo, Rob, those sissy bear pillows are gonna sell fast. Yes, we actually should make some sissy bear pillows, right? And we'll sell them. That way people have something to punch when they're upset, when the bear market is, or when the market is red, right? Ditto, what's up, man? Another dose of Rob, always a blessing. There you go, Carl. A happy meal a month to 7 figures. Let's get it, baby. Hey, Rob, I don't want to complain, but I don't understand this matter. A few months ago, Jasmine was at 2 cents, 2 cent one, when BTC was at. You don't want to complain. I don't want to complain, but I'm going to complain. Right? Not everything moves at the same time, my friend. Jasmine will have its time in the sun. Be patient. You can't force things, right? Here's the thing I focused on this morning, guys, and I really want you guys to hear this message, okay? Stop focusing so hard on when. Stop focusing on that. It is an inevitability that the altcoin season is going to run. You sitting there complaining about when, I went on a whole rant on the Patreon about this morning, but I'm going to sum it up here, okay? There are people in this world, the majority of people in this world, who are not even in crypto, who don't understand what you understand right now, and who do not have the opportunity to make life-changing wealth like you do right now. You are in the game, and the only thing that you have to do, is sit down and wait for it to happen. That's it. That's the whole thing. You don't have to be a rocket scientist or a president or a politician or anything, a hedge fund manager, and you're going to be able to become a multimillionaire in time. And all you have to do is wait. And you're still complaining, right? That isn't a shot at you specifically, Mataris. I'm saying your name wrong. Anyway. But the point across the bow for everybody is just that, right? You have one job, wait, to become a financially free person. And that's not good enough for you. It has to happen now, or else you're upset. Come on, guys. Come on, right? Zoom out. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's Thanos, okay? It's coming. Thank you so much, Chrissy. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting the channel. It really does mean a lot. It really, really does, guys. What else do we have? Lost my spot here. Crypto JPEG, yeah, but you always got the yeah buts. Why is the market pumping? Why aren't we there yet? Biddy on Soul. Looking bullish, says Rod. Nice, nice, nice. Eric, man, this morning the sentiment was so low. Everyone was already saying no altcoin season, and now, boy, everyone's excited. That is that's exactly it, Eric. And I would say, if you're feeling super excited and happy and all that stuff right now, don't get me wrong, that's great. But it also is a very clear sign that you are an emotional investor, right? If your mood went from in the pooper this morning to now you're on top of the world, you are an emotional investor, right? You should be stoic, and I understand people are going to be happy to see green and stuff. Listen, but you should be, for the most part, numb to this stuff by now. You shouldn't be so emotional on either side of the spectrum, right? It's dangerous. I say this, every single person that asks me for advice on the Patreon, I tell them this very thing, okay? When things are bad, they're never as bad as they seem. When things are good, they're never as good as they seem. Remember that, right? Try to stay neutral. Try to stay on the level, right? Big Pato in the house. Good morning, fam. Don't forget to hit the likes. Patience will pay off. Absolutely, brother. Patience has already started to pay off. 100%. William, that's right. More likes than people watching. Yes. What do we have now? 241 people. We have 65 likes. Let's get to 100, guys. Let's push to 100. If you like 2 live streams a day, let's get to 100 likes. Candyman, I don't want to complain, but I can remember every word to some random 80s song, but can't remember the password I created yesterday. Right? And then you punch the password in, it says invalid, so you change it, and it says new password cannot be the same as old password. Right? Absolutely. 100%. Ashley, Big Rob, you're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. Absolutely. Huge thanks to the regular crew on the Patreon. Beautiful to see how people help newbies navigate their overwhelming emotional responses. Speaking of which, another local, it is in fact open mic weekend hosted by none other than our very own crypto mom, Ramona. Make sure you guys are there over on the Patreon for that. You're not going to want to miss it, guys. Have you hit the like and subscribed yet? Next step, Patreon family. Let's go. Penny Packer, Moonwell, hell yeah, did a nice long, hour-long feed of the X Spaces for Moonwell yesterday. XD Bizzle in the hizzle. Go Rob, let's do it. Look at that Trump hat for today, Rob. I haven't seen it. It's always good to be grateful. Here's to creating lives over time. Exactly. That's what makes me feel grateful every morning. There you go. Going green. Let's get it. Put my silver money into Gary on Wednesday. Nice. I watched a Colin Talks crypto video, and he says he thinks alt season is going all the way into April. Well, interesting. Listen, here's the thing, guys. Nobody knows for sure, right? It's all just probabilities and speculation. So maybe he's right, right? Maybe he's right. I don't think so, but I'm not the end-all, know-all of everything, right? I'm wrong sometimes. Big Mike supporting the channel, stepping up, my dude. Thank you so much, brother. Keep leading us, Rob. Hey, I appreciate you, Mike. You're always there. You're always stepping up. You're always supporting me, man. It seems like every stream you got my back, brother. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate you, man. Okay, where am I? Crypto J505, what's going on, man? Lion, my dude, Ethereum looks like it's in an accumulation mode. Actually, I'm going to look at the Ethereum chart. Let's pull it up right now. Ethereum is trying to break above resistance. It's trying to go into price discovery mode as we speak. Now it needs to get across. It needs to close above that line right there, boys. 47.44. We need to close above there. Look how close we got to all-time high. This is the all-time high right here, the bottom of this white box. 48.80, right? Roughly 48.80. We got to get in there, break above, and the top of the box is $5,000 psychological level. So once Ethereum breaks through this, though, oh, guys, holy smokes, right? Holy smokes. You don't even know, man. You don't even know. Braveheart, I put my silver DCA money into one of Rob's gems. It ran up 70% today. Join the Patreon. Absolutely. There you go, guys. You're missing out, man. If you're not over there, you're missing out. David, Rob, it seems like the stablecoin wars are starting to heat up. Can you give your opinion on the future of Tether and USDC? Circle will be the winner, in my opinion. USD1 will do well, but you have to remember that Trump is only president for one term, for the remainder of this term, and then people are not obligated. They don't feel that political pressure to utilize that token anymore, that stable coin, right? So it could fade into mediocrity, while I think that Circle will probably be the primary winner. I think the Tether will stick around as well. But these other companies, like everyone all of a sudden wants to create a stable coin. I mean, a lot of people will use their own stable coins and stuff, but you have to remember that banks will not use each other's stable coins because they're not trustless, right? They're not decentralized. So the Bank of America is not going to use JP Morgan's stable coin because it's an internal it's centralized, controlled by JP Morgan. And I don't know how much you know about banks, but banks generally do not operate based on trust with each other. So yeah. Gamecast, 5-cent Nadix loading. Oh, that's amazing, man. That would be great. Oh yeah, I can't wait for the bear market to gain that true crypto blueprint. I see what you did there. David, greetings, Rob, new member, long time lurker. I knew you had a strong hustle before. Now that I'm on the inside, there's no doubt you are the hardest working man in the game. Thank you for your service. David, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here, my friend. And thank you for speaking up. Sold that hero. So how long does this pump from Powell meeting? Well, here's the thing. Now what's happening, what's happening right now is the market is now, at the beginning of August, the market was pricing in a 25 basis point rate cut with a lot of speculation on whether it would actually be a 50 basis point rate cut. And then PPI came out and the market reversed course and started pricing in no rate cut in September. Now, with Powell's speech today, the market is now reversed again, and the market is now again starting to price in a rate cut in September. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the market kind of continue upwards until the rate cut happens, and then you'll see a bit of a buy the rumor, sell the news event sometime around August 20th. You'll see the market correct again, because usually that's what happens when you get a rate cut. Usually the markets know ahead of time, like right now, and the markets respond accordingly so that when it happens, it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event. So when they're pricing in no rate cut, and then the Fed comes out and they announce no rate cut, the market doesn't dump because it's already priced in. Same thing goes for when we do get a rate cut. Well, we're expecting one, so now it's pricing it in, the markets are pumping. So when we actually get the rate cut, people will probably take profits, and you'll see a little bit of a correction as a result, right? So, and that'll be, I think, around September 16th and 17th, I think, is the FOMC meeting for September. So we'll have to keep an eye on that date. Big C, Rob, I am entertained. It's time to pay off my home and start my new portfolio with you for next cycle, brother. Amen to that. Chrissy, yes, we are entertained. Absolutely. Carlos, Robbie, is it full send from here? No, not full send. Market's going to do nice. Market's going to pump, but I wouldn't say full send. Powell made as weirdos smash the like button. Ditto, I will never understand how so many people are impatient. It will happen eventually. All they have to do is wait. Yes, exactly. Milk Money says, hit the like button, not the nuts. More videos on Sleeping Giant Swift Coin. Yes. Yeah, I'll work on that. Total crypto market cap up 300 million since Powell talked. That's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just like from me DCAing too, right? Like, very nice. Lizzie, what's going on? How are you? Awesome, beautiful people. Hope you all are having fun. Rob and all of the Patreon, you are all amazing. We love you, Lizzie. MB, do you still believe it? XCN haven't heard about it much lately on the channel? Yeah, well, there hasn't really been much news about XCN. I covered the new proposal that they were doing, the last proposal they did. I did a video on that. Still bullish on XCN, absolutely. Ray, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. Slotham? Sitting on my hands patiently, always hitting the like button first, faithfully. There you go. I appreciate you, man. Have you ever looked into Pokemon card investing? I actually have a ton of Pokemon cards. I buy all of these special edition boxes that come out and everything. So yes, I do have a lot of Pokemon cards in my portfolio. Yes, absolutely. Shaun of the Living, what's up, man? Are they just riding horses in Jackson Hole now? Hey, Rob, I heard the Fed reverse repo facility is at its lowest reserve since April. Nice. 2021. It could lead to QE. Yeah, it could. What tools or metrics do you use to create a price target on a projection? I'm going through Crypto J505. I'm actually releasing a series of videos on the Patreon on how to do your research and vet projects and find gems one step at a time so that it's easy to understand and stuff. So I have a whole series of videos coming out on the Patreon explaining exactly how to do all that stuff. So so stay tuned for it over there for sure. Candyman sent you a message on the Patreon and try to reschedule. Yes, I responded to a bunch. I responded to like 25 messages. I refreshed it and had 10 more. It's like, geez, man, you know. No way, that's awesome. I invested into so much sealed Pokemon too. Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to be worth a bunch. I'm never going to sell my Pokemon cards, though. I'll probably pass those on to my son, and he can sell them when he's an adult, when they're worth way, way more. What about XCN Wallet in the Google App Play Store? I think I talked about that a little while ago. Gamma Goddess XCN is updating their Onyx wallet also. There you go. Where can you buy Sui AI except from Phantom? Just go to CoinGecko and have a look. Still super bullish on XCN. Onyx Coin Wallet is pending App Store approval. Will be available for users. There you go. Do you think we get a Solana ETF before the end of the year? No, I don't. I think that most of the altcoin ETFs will probably happen next year, to be honest with you. XRP, Litecoin, Solana, HBAR, all that stuff, right? Dogecoin, whatever. I think Trump should take Powell on and Dick Cheney bird hunt. Nice. I see what you did there. All right, we're caught up in the chat. Let's get into the news, guys. Chat was buzzing nicely today. Ethereum looks good. Let's see what's going on across the market, shall we? Got a few clips to get into today. Let's start off with Cynthia Lummis. This is the most pro digital asset administration in history, and we're just getting started.
So we're finally embracing President Trump's goal of having the United States remaining the digital asset capital of the world. We shouldn't be ceding that role to the United Arab Emirates or to Singapore. Even Japan, which is notoriously cautious, has a more robust digital asset regulatory framework than we do, because they're starting to embrace innovation. And it's very important the United States retain that role. So Wyoming has led. Because Wyoming led, I had the embedded statutory framework that Wyoming passed to move into Washington. So we've adapted it to Washington regulatory dominance in commodities and securities, and we're moving forward for. So we did stable coins first. The Genius Act passed. It's now law, and that provided the momentum we needed to do market structure. So the House passed a market structure bill. It's called the Clarity Act.
Right.
We in the Senate are going to mark up in the Senate Banking Committee a market structure bill in September. The Ag Committee will do theirs in October because they've got the commodities jurisdiction. The Senate Banking Committee has the securities jurisdiction. Then we'll fold them together with clarity and hopefully get this across the finish line by Thanksgiving or at the latest Christmas.
Yeah, before the end of the year, baby. Let's go. Let's go. All right, if you missed Powell this morning, I'll play this clip for you again. This was Powell this morning. This is why markets pumped.
The balance of risks appears to be shifting. In my remarks today, I will first address the current economic situation and the near-term outlook for monetary policy. I will then turn to the results of our second public review of our monetary policy framework, as captured in the revised Statement on Longer-Run Goals and Monetary Policy Strategy that we released today. When I appeared at this podium 1 year ago, the economy was at an inflection point. Our policy rate had stood at 5.25% to 5.5% for more than a year. That restrictive policy stance was appropriate to help bring down inflation and to foster a sustainable balance between aggregate demand and supply. Inflation had moved much closer to our objective, and the labor market had cooled from its formerly overheated state. Upside risks to inflation had diminished, but the unemployment rate had increased by almost a full percentage point, a development that historically has not occurred outside of recessions. Over the subsequent 3 Federal Open Market Committee meetings, we recalibrated our policy stance, setting the stage for the labor market to remain in balance near maximum employment over the past year. This year, the economy has faced new challenges. Significantly higher tariffs across our trading partners are remaking the global trading system. Tighter immigration policy has led to an abrupt slowdown in labor force growth. Over the longer run, changes in tax, spending, and regulatory policies may also have important implications for economic growth and productivity. There is significant uncertainty about where all of these policies will eventually settle and what their lasting effects on the economy will be. Changes in trade and immigration policies are affecting both demand and supply.
There you go, guys. That is what pumped markets today. All right, we got more to get into. We got some Squawk Box videos to get into as well. Let's get into those. What do we got? All the sissy bears went from we're gonna to we're gonna fly in the time frame of one Scooby-Doo episode. There you go. Exactly. Market pullback 5-10% is natural and healthy, says Kari from Firestone, whatever.
Markets right now is Carrie Firestone. She's the co-founder and chair emerita. Emerita?
Emerita.
It's emerita. It's when it's a woman?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Chair emerita. Yeah. She is the chair emerita of Arias Asset Management. She's also a CNBC contributor. And Carrie, it's great to have you on set today.
Thanks very much, Becky.
All right, let's talk about what we're seeing in the markets right now. You think that we are on the verge of a pullback. How big of a pullback are you anticipating?
Oh, I don't think it's going to be much of a pullback. It's just we had a setup that was just too incredible. When people are talking about it's a perfect market, everything is going to the upside, but you've had the market, the S&P 500 up 29% since April 8th, and the NASDAQ up 40%, NASDAQ 100 up 37%. It's hard to keep that going without some pullback, particularly when half the people who trade are away. So this is natural, it's healthy, it ought to happen. 5 to 10% would be reasonable, but we expect people to start buying, which they began to do yesterday afternoon.
I was going to say, we keep talking about this pullback and these tech stocks that are under pressure. The NASDAQ is not even 3% from an all-time high. So it's hard to look at this and think that this is a serious pullback. And understandably, there are some stocks that are down quite a bit more than that.
Sure.
But if you're looking at the major averages, this does not look like the beginning of anything just yet.
Yeah, it's really impossible to have the market only go in one direction.
Yeah.
So we need a few days that it goes down and then it'll go up. But people have forgotten that the market is two-sided. There's ups and downs.
Well, that's what I wonder. There's so much money on the sidelines and so many people who've been waiting to get back in. Do you think we'll even see a 6% pullback? Because once you get to 5%, I wonder if that just triggers people to say, oh, I've got to get in on this.
There would have to be a trigger for that.
Yeah.
So if the market was very disappointed by what Jay Powell says, if he's very hawkish, which is doubtful, that could be an incentive for people to sell. If perhaps we see something with NVIDIA earnings that are extremely disappointing.
So things are priced to perfection right now.
Yeah.
Point with this.
So those are the reasons. You need a catalyst. You need to see the jobs number be very, very weak, implying there'd be a recession. Recession is the fear that people have forgotten about recently. They assume it's all right if inflation stays, if it's 3.5 to 4%, we can live with that. But if the jobs number gets extremely weak and consumers stop spending, there's a problem. On the other hand, you've got these Mag 7 or however many we're talking about who continue to go higher, but their earnings were incredible. The fact that as a group, the earnings grew 23% when these are the biggest companies in the world and they had the highest profit margins, and you can't stop them. And they now seem to have insurance that they continue to expand because, if NVIDIA makes a deal with the government about 15% of our sales from China we give to you, well, they can make all kinds of deals.
Right.
They can protect themselves on the downside from, whether it's antitrust, anti-competitive behavior, it's restrictions on foreign employees. There are deals that they can make, which they're the only companies able to pay as much money as they can. And I think that that's worth something to those stocks and to the market as a whole.
Which of those stocks do you like, or which do you own?
We own Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Broadcom right now.
Okay, so that's most of the Mag 7.
Correct. Yeah.
And is that a bigger concentration than you have in other areas?
It's definitely, those are our biggest positions. They're 29% of the market cap now.
Okay.
They're growing their earnings 23, 24%. They have profit margins of, 40% on average operating profit. And it's hard to see why, if you look at the history of the S&P, these companies should have such concentration. But we feel it's justified because of how powerful they are. You know, they are ubiquitous. They don't have the restrictions for geographic, region because of the way that they conduct their business. Their service is digital, and there's no stopping their scope, right? You know, you might use another search engine, of course, but search keeps growing.
Let me ask you about the consumer, because that is what people are watching for. Will the consumer pick up and be spending through this? What did they do in July? We're going to hear from Walmart today. We heard from Target yesterday. What's your overall sense of where the consumer stands right now, and do you own any of these stocks?
So we don't own any of the consumer staples, and in terms of retail, not particularly. We own Amazon, we own Booking Holding.
Okay.
Now, we're close to them. We know these companies. I think that the Home Depot numbers were a relief. Things weren't as bad as expected.
Right.
So the stock went up, but were the numbers good? Not very good. I think same store sales were up 1.3%.
Yeah.
The Target numbers were weak. I mean, justified. I mean, that's in the doghouse, that stock, and it takes years to get out of it, like Nike. The Walmart numbers, I think they'll be okay, but mostly because of grocery. The consumer doesn't really want to spend excessively, particularly at the lower end. TJX, those were good numbers, but that's a bargain company. People look for the bargains and they have the right prices. It's amazing how that stock continues. It's like Costco. But we don't feel great about the consumer, but the consumer has not fallen off a cliff because people are still working. They have jobs, they have discretionary income. They just don't have as much of it as we saw with like Estee Lauder, bad numbers.
Right.
And I just realized I was talking and I was muted the whole time. So there you go. I said NVIDIA definitely is going to dominate. For sure, man, for sure. They've become such a massive, important company in such a short amount of time. It's absolutely insane. Fed's Cook accused of mortgage fraud. What does the law really say?
Department of Justice is investigating Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook over allegations of fraud related to her mortgages. A letter signed by DOJ attorney Ed Martin also urging Fed Chair Jerome Powell to remove Cook from the central bank's board, though, in fact, he doesn't have the power to do that. Joining us right now to help us understand the allegations against Cook, some of the rules, and how this could all play itself out. Former Assistant Attorney General Jonathan Cantor, he's a CNBC contributor, a distinguished law professor at Washington University in St. Louis. And you have a beautiful shot of Washington right behind you, my friend. It's nice to see you this morning. Help us understand. I just want to know, when you first heard this news, did you immediately say this is a terrible crime? Did you say there's something else going on? Did you think about weaponization? What was going on in your head?
Yeah, the first thing that jumped out to me, Andrew, is that this is not something that the Department of Justice would normally investigate. There's a difference between the court of law and the court of public opinion. In the court of law, this is small ball, and it's very difficult to prove. You'd have to establish not only that she filled out the form incorrectly, but she had the specific intent to deceive, to defraud banks, as opposed to just making a mistake. And so it's not something ordinarily the Department of Justice would investigate and use its scarce resources to address. Now, that's separate from the question of public opinion. People might feel that this makes her unfit for the job,
always use
but that's usually something that comes up in the context of a confirmation hearing, or again, a question about whether she's fit for the public trust.
Jonathan, but let's separate then, because I think there's a couple things going on. Let's separate the legality issue from
you couldn't find anything better.
The prosecution of this issue from how this might have all started. We'll separate them as separate issues. On the legal issue alone, you do agree or believe that it's illegal to lie on your application. And I know you said that it's hard to prove, but I would imagine typically in this kind of context, unless there's a reasonable excuse for it, that the reason you would be saying that you have two primary homes at the same time is because you want the lower rate, and you would know that that's wrong.
Right. So there's really a question about whether there is a technical legal violation and whether somebody engaged in criminal fraud. So to establish criminal fraud, you would have to establish.
Real quick, guys, here's the thing. We're splitting hairs here with this debate that this guy's having, right? At the end of the day, and he knows damn well, the average person like you or me, okay, yeah, this is not something the DOJ would get involved in. I'm not muted, Braveheart. You tricked me. This is not something generally that the DOJ would get involved in for the general person, the average retail investor, whatever, right? Myself, you guys, whatever, right? However, when you are in as a governor at the Federal Reserve, you are in a position where, one, you know better, for sure you know better, right? And two, you are in a position of trust and you are in the public eye. So yes, this offense, while to the average person might be small balls, as he called it, but at the same time, for someone in her position, well, context matters, right? And if she can't be trusted to be honest in committing mortgage fraud in her personal life, how much can she be trusted in a position of financial power on a federal level, right? That matters way more than your average person, right? So context matters is the point, right?
Beyond a reasonable doubt, not only that she did.
He's trying to pretend the context doesn't matter.
Something that was incorrect, but she had the intent to commit a crime. That's a very high standard, and appropriately so. It means that we're not going to take away someone's liberty rights unless they're really a criminal.
Hey, Jonathan, can I follow up on this, though? Because I've spent a lot of time trying to think this through. I've got multiple mortgages. It would never occur to me to say that one of these other houses was my primary residence.
Yes.
Because, first of all, I wouldn't think that the lenders wouldn't figure that out anyway, but it's wrong. And the reason that there are higher mortgage rates on second or third mortgages is because you are much more likely to walk away from that and leave the bank holding the bag. So it doesn't feel like it's a victimless crime any more than insurance fraud feels like a victimless crime. Insurance fraud causes everybody else's rates to go up. Mortgage fraud causes everybody else's rates to go up because the banks have to realize that there's going to be a certain amount of failure that comes through on this. The circumstances are strange, and I've tried to think through. I know there are some cases where a mortgage lender will say, yeah, it's okay for you to do that if you were buying a property for an elderly relative or for a disabled child, or if you really had job circumstances where you were going back and forth. I don't know all the facts on this, but what what Bill Pulte has put out suggests that she put one of those properties, she did these within a couple of weeks of each other, and then soon afterward put one of those properties up on the rental market. I would anticipate that.
See, real quick, guys. Now, I used to work as a finance manager. So I'll tell you right now, the reason that she did this within a couple of weeks of each other is because when you do anything in terms of an auto loan or a mortgage on your credit, right? It takes at least 30 days minimum for the action, like a new mortgage, for example, as your primary place to live. That takes at least a month to register in the system, right? She knew that, so she did it twice. She labeled both of these mortgages her primary location, but she did the second one before the first one registered on her bureau, right? She knew exactly what she was doing because they couldn't look at the new mortgage, the second mortgage application for primary residence. The people that were giving her that could not look at her bureau and see she had literally just established a different mortgage as her primary residence, right? Because it didn't show up in time. So she did this on purpose.
Someone who's sitting on the Federal Reserve Board would understand what a primary residence is. And you're right. I don't know how they got about. You may look askance at how any of this came out. You may doubt the whistleblower accusations on some of these things. You may think it was an active investigation. But as Andrew said, let's separate the two. it doesn't seem to me, and it may be widespread, there may be 22,000 cases of this, but it doesn't seem to me like a victimless crime, and it is something that we should crack down on.
Yeah, and to be clear, Becky, I don't necessarily disagree with the underlying premise of what you're saying, which is that if you defraud the bank, it is and can be and should be a crime. The question, I guess, that I'm trying to address is realistically, what has to go into proving that in order to establish beyond a reasonable doubt that somebody violated the Title 18 and
True lawyer,
should be
right?
subjected to prison or such fines, or
nobody's pushing to throw her in prison. They want her out of a position of authority at the Federal Reserve. They don't want to put her in prison.
Large fines. And as a practical matter, it's not something typically the DOJ would investigate because there's a lot of this stuff. Whether they could, they certainly could if they wanted to, and they could certainly bring a case. Just in my experience, it's not the easiest kind of case to prove in the absence of a broader evidence of ongoing fraud.
Right.
And so,
ask us a separate question, unrelated to the politics of it. Do you think that somebody's role in society changes whether they should be prosecuted or not? So you might say, okay, typically we don't go after these things. But in this instance, if you were on the board of the Fed or the CEO of a bank and you were doing this, part of what I imagine, and you and I have actually talked about, you used the word deterrence many years ago. I remember we talked about the word deterrence. Do you say to yourself, okay, well, we don't normally go after this, but this is putting the politics of it aside, a high value target from a deterrence perspective?
Yeah, there's a question of what should be the case and what is the case. I mean, we can look back and you can look at Martha Stewart and a whole bunch of other, notable prosecutions where you might shrug your shoulders and wonder why the government used its resources for something that might not have been victimless, but relatively insignificant in the grand scheme of the problems that we suffer throughout the world and the kind of crime that goes on a daily basis. As a legal matter, as a technical legal matter, that information about in a criminal case would be prejudicial. It's probably not, unless it related to her job. It's not likely a court would allow evidence of somebody's position to come in, especially in this case if the conduct occurred before she was on the board of governors. It's kind of like a stoplight. It doesn't matter if you're in a yellow Ferrari or a champagne Corolla, you still have to stop at the stoplight. The law applies equally to everybody.
Right.
It reminds me of, remember all the government officials who got chased out because they were hiring nannies under the table and not paying them on the books? You can go back, that was probably 15, 20 years ago, but there were a series of them who had done things that were pretty commonplace among other people. But if you are a public official, you're going to be held to a higher standard.
Yeah, Becky, so this is why I think it's important to distinguish between the court of law and the court of public opinion. These kinds of things do come up quite frequently in confirmation hearings to determine whether somebody is fit to hold office. That's usually the proper place to have this conversation, including the one we're having right now.
This guy's trying to have a legal argument over whether it's okay to have moral and ethical gray areas if you're holding a position in the federal government or in a federal position, especially one at the Federal Reserve, right? Should they or can they throw her in prison for it? No, and they probably shouldn't even try to. They probably shouldn't even be talking about trying to throw her in prison, which they're not. But at the same time, there should be no moral or ethical gray area for someone who sits on the board at the Federal Reserve. Period. Full stop.
Right. Although if we find out somebody lied about their resume after the fact, they've gotten chased out for that too.
They have, but again, the question is, how are we going to enforce that fairly across the entire federal government, or are we just going to use it when we disagree with somebody over a particular policy question?
So, Jonathan, the next sort of political piece is, look, there are some people, Democrats, you're a Democrat, who look at this and say, this is a weaponization of the government. We don't know exactly how this allegation first emerged. I believe that Pulte suggested that it came from a tip. Who is the tippee? Is that somebody inside? Is that somebody outside? Is it Pulte himself? I mean, right? Like these are the other questions that have emerged, which then raise questions about sort of how this government is using its authorities. How do you think about that? If you could somehow take any of your politics out of it.
Yeah, so I had a very powerful position in the government where I would be able to bring cases, sign indictments that would effectively take away people's liberty rights. When you're in that position, it's an awesome responsibility, and the power that you have is incredible and can have significant effect on people. You have to use it without fear or favor. And so as much as you might want or have instincts to be political about it, when you're talking about criminal prosecution, you have an obligation as a prosecutor really to look at things in very neutral terms and make sure that you are giving people their due process and using the great force of the United States government and the court system appropriately for the right reasons, which is to enforce the law. Again, I'm not taking a position on whether they should or shouldn't hear. It does raise questions about whether somebody is being singled out simply because you don't like their policy positions. If that is the case, then that is an abuse of power in and of itself and is something that raises huge questions about its appropriateness.
The accusation that she's only being targeted because she doesn't want to cut rates, right? So Trump is being discriminatory against her. It has nothing to do with the fact that she committed mortgage fraud.
And what is your sense in this context? Do you have an early take?
Well, again, you really don't want to prejudge these things. The context here raises questions about, again, whether somebody's being singled out because of their policy positions. If that is the case, and I take no position, I don't know whether it is or isn't,
take no position.
Then it's a problematic. But taking Pulte for his word, if it's simply an ordinary referral, that's fine. But the Justice Department has an obligation to make sure that it's using its responsibility and its prosecutorial discretion and authority appropriately, not simply in retaliation for a policy position.
Just what a weak argument that guy had. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Facts, Braveheart. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's get the Bitcoin chart back up here, guys. All right. Listen, I got to get over to the Patreon. I got a coaching call I got to do over there, guys. So get over there, get your coaching calls booked in, join the community, join myself and thousands of other members today. Also, it is open mic weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Make sure you guys are there for that. Exclusive Patreon-only content. We have the swing trading tier as well. If you want to get in on some swing trades to beef up your portfolio, check that out. Microcap gems, live streams, and so much more over on the Patreon. Link is down below in the description. It's in the pinned comments. It's in the chat. It's everywhere you want to be, guys. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.